As I said, my name's William Fawcett. I am the founder of the Millionaires Club, a grand president with VyVo. We're excited about what's happening with our company. We're certainly excited to have all of you as part of the team. And from my standpoint, the team is really anyone who wants to plug in. We know there are some great teams, great leaders here with VyVo, and we welcome everyone. And so don't worry about who your upline is or whether you're on the team or not. If you've defined yourself, still respecting whatever team you're on, but if you've defined yourself as participating, then we certainly welcome you as part of the team. And to reiterate and perhaps introduce to those of you who are new, we have 3 goals in the Millionaires Club. First is to create significant home-based business income streams. The second is to maximize those through proper use of taxes and also through living beneath our means. And then the third goal is to use those income streams that have been maximized to acquire assets. We've helped about 150,000 people start businesses over the last 25 plus years. And my belief is that this is the best opportunity we've been a part of, including the one that I was actually a part of the ownership team of and was CEO for a time. So that gives you a sense of what I see here with VyVo. I think that this year, based upon the things the company has announced, is going to be very significant. And so now is all about taking advantage of the positioning. And that's really what I want to talk about a little bit here this evening, to work very hard in over the next couple of months to take advantage of the timing we have that, in my opinion, will mean that those who do have that kind of focus now, they can maybe not put the opportunity out of reach, but certainly put themselves much further ahead down the road. And I'm talking about in terms of identifying themselves as top earners. That the timing we're working on now is going to be significantly greater than the timing in the future, even perhaps the near future, even when that timing is going to be outstanding. That is the power of the opportunity that we have here right now. So we don't want to take that for granted. We want to certainly take action, move aggressively, follow the process, and we're going to talk about that here in a moment. But what I want to do now is talk about what we should be doing, how we should be focused, how we can maximize this timing. And I want to talk a little bit from a comp standpoint as well, because I believe that sometimes we don't recognize the power of what we have from a compensation standpoint. So let me share my screen. All right, great. So I call this getting started right. That's critically important. And even if you've been started for a while, think about starting over. I can't tell you how many times I've done that in my tenure in this industry. And that's a great thing. You know, they talk about sometimes people who relocate to another part of their country or maybe even the world, they have an opportunity to be different, to reinvent themselves. We have that same opportunity anytime we want in this business. That's one of the greatest things about the industry. If you don't like the results you've gotten, start over, figuratively, of course. Make tomorrow day one in your business, even if it's day 1001. No one cares what happened in your past. And that's one of the powerful things here. If I was working a job and I said, hey, I'm going to turn over a new leaf, maybe my results and performance hasn't been the best, but I am going to change that. It would take me, months, sometimes years, sometimes never to overcome that, because that past performance follows me. That's not the case here. There is a computer that is determining what to pay you and I. That's the powerful thing. There's no human interaction, just like with the artificial intelligence. What that means is there's no racism, sexism, nepotism, favoritism. None of the isms exist. That computer looks every week at what William Fawcett or anyone else did and then pays all of us accordingly. So you can start now saying, I'm gonna, be different in my business and create a powerfully different result. So there's nothing that prevents that from happening except us. The cliche says, to get something different, you need to do something different. And so you can't bring the same results, the same actions and expect different results. So let me go through this information, starting with our income disclosure. I'm going to talk a little bit from an income standpoint in the latter part of this. So we all should know that what we put into this is what we'll get out of it. If you haven't yet, review the average earnings chart, understand, even in part of your goal, where you want to be in that information, and ultimately understand that the process can work for you if you follow it. All right, so let's get right into the information. First of all, looking at a standpoint of getting started in the business. So we said getting started right. Obviously, probably everyone or almost everyone who is hearing this training is already a representative with VyVo, and that's fine, but you are enrolling other representatives. And so I want to make sure that you understand the options for getting started, and particularly right now, the value that they contain. And this is why we've got to be moving with a sense of urgency. First of all, you know that you can become a representative simply by filling out the member agreement. That's all you have to do. We're unique. We don't charge anyone to become a representative. In fact, you could even fill out the member agreement, not buy anything, go back into your back office and choose one of the subscriptions, the Pro subscription, hopefully. But the bottom line is you don't have to buy anything up front. I recommend it. You don't have to. And we confirmed that last weekend. Bill Jackson and his team actually had someone go in and do that. And so, that is certainly an option for someone who just simply doesn't have the resources. But I really want you to understand the value in particularly this smart kit. So right now, because the BioSense band isn't here, when you purchase the smart kit, you get the DNA sample collection kit. That's a $25 value. The VyVo Smart Pro subscription that includes your Oracle report, all the life log and data storage from your wearable device, whether it's a Hilo or whether you'd be waiting for the BioSense. And it also includes the NutriPack. That's a $100 value, so we're up to $125. They also include the Health and Wellness genetic test. That's a $259 value, so let's round that to $260. And this test, if you've not done it or never seen it, 22 pages, great data. I actually went through mine again today and found more stuff that I hadn't really focused on. It talks about any predispositions you may have to vitamin deficiencies. And for example, in my case, vitamin B, it tells me is I'm likely or possible to be deficient. Told me about exercise and how I should exercise. The fact that, my endurance exercise or athletics potential is average, but my power potential is above average. And so that then probably stands to reason why it says that I should spend 70% of my time when I exercise focusing on strength and resistance training, which is probably, at this point, the opposite of what I do. And so that's very useful information. It tells me how to eat, and the fact that not only should my diet be 55% carbohydrates, and because of that, it should be complex carbohydrates, but also that one particular fat, mono unsaturated fats, which are supposed to be healthy, I have a genetic predisposition to gain fat when I eat those. So there's just so much information in this report, and it's included for free. Now, we talk about customized solutions. You want to understand that's the first one. And so, or not, it's one of them anyway. We tend to forget that. And so, 20 plus pages of data that you can utilize to develop solutions, even apart from the NutriPack and the other things the company will come out with. So $260 value. We're already at $125. So now we're at $385. Then you, in addition, get the reservation for the BioSense at $50. My understanding, what we've heard, is that's a $200 discount. So we're at $585 there, and that's before you consider that right now the Smart ID is a separate product. It's a $100 product. So depending upon how you define it, I'm not one to inflate things, but you could make a case to define it at $685 in value, because that's a $100 product. Whether you say $585, $685, at $369, you can see that you're saving more than $200 by getting all of this now. And so this is why I recommend this as an initial starting point at minimum, because I don't know that all of this is going to stay around. So I think that what's likely to happen is when the BioSense is available, the BioSense discount will come out of this. And what you can do is either get a BioSense or the DNA test, but not both, when you purchase this package. That's just my thought. I don't know if that's the case, but I believe that they alluded to that in the recent webinar that we had. So this is around till, let's say, April to be safe, maybe May, but this is why we want to make use of this now. We want to run as hard as we can. And here's the other thing. It's great to have the NutriPack, which again is included as well, but you want to have that as customized as possible. And so for a new person, they'll get 20% customization just by completing the assessment. But by getting this package, they'll get another 40%. So that's 60%. They can get that, let's say, within their first month. Their first package might be 20% customized. The second, though, would be 60%, because they should have gotten their DNA test back by then, and it would be incorporated. And then ultimately, they'll get their BioSense, and that'll give them the remaining 40%. So I spent a lot of time on this, but it's critical, I think, that you understand the value, because my feeling is, that if people understood it, they would be working harder to take advantage of it while it's here. The second package is our Builder Pack. It's similar to what we've always had. A couple of differences that you want to understand, and that is that this includes 2 of what we just went over, right? 2 of the Smart Pack, and a third that includes 90 days of the Smart Life Pro subscription rather than just 30 days. So you get 2 of the other packs that you could give to a family member. You could give to one of your new representatives. Remember, the goal being 2 initially. You could have 1 for each of them. They replace it when their Builder Pack comes in. And of course, you get all of the discounts, etc. So this is some great value. And one other thing, because people have gone back and forth, well, do I get the Smart Pack or do I get the Builder Pack? Well, one advantage to the Builder Pack is that it's the simplest way to actually qualify for Team Builder Executive. We're going to talk about that in a moment. But this package, because it has 500 SV and you need at least 400 to qualify for Team Builder Executive, and the 20% commission that comes with it, this is the simplest way. If you were to do this, then with 100 SV, you need 400 on each side. So you would need 4 people that you had sponsored or who had purchased this package, or that would actually otherwise, purchase product that would get you to that 400. So this is just a fourth of the way there. This is all the way there. And obviously you say, well, doesn't matter what I do. It only matters what my people do. That's true. The challenge is trying to get someone to do something that you wouldn't do. It's very difficult to get someone to purchase a pack that you didn't purchase, because they're likely to ask, what did you start with? So I know that some folks financially may not be able to start at this point, and I get that. The great thing, and we're going to talk about this, the great thing about where we are is wherever you start, even if you got nothing, if you're focused properly, you can build a very nice part-time and potentially in the future full-time income stream as you build up your product set from the earnings you get. But certainly the builder pack is worthwhile for anyone who can do that. Now, let's look at the subscription plans. I've circled the one that we need to focus on. I really need to make a slide that just has that, simply because that's really the only area we want to be. You want to be on Smart Life Pro. I don't see how you can truly talk about the benefits of what we do here in VyVo without having this NutriPack. Our entire concept is this VyVo Smart concept now, which includes the genetic analysis, feedback from the wearable devices governed by artificial intelligence to produce customized solutions. NutriPack is the first, and there's tremendous value. Those of you who have been on Loyalty, this includes everything that Loyalty had, plus the NutriPack for $40 additional. So there's a company I'm aware of selling customized nutrition, but less customized than ours because it doesn't include the wearable feedback. They sell it for $200. So typically everyone I've heard of is well over $100. Never heard of a company doing what we're doing for $40 additional. And you could say, well, yeah, but it's really $100. It is, but you're getting, tremendous value with not only the wearable data, the life log, the monitoring, everything that we do there, but also the loyalty points, which you really want to think about that as our rewards program. The company convinced me on that when the LX Plus went into the loyalty store in the second month it was available. That was very powerful. It's exactly the way I would have done it. I wouldn't have put it in there at first because I don't want to hurt the rep's income when a new device comes out. It'd be like Apple saying, hey, we got a loyalty program and this new iPhone X or 10, whatever they call it, you can get that with all your loyalty points. They wouldn't make the same money, and if they don't in VyVo, then we don't. So I'm glad they didn't put it in there as soon as it came out, but second or third month, that's great timing, because that means, like in my case, I'd already bought the LX Plus, my wife or my mom one. I can do that with loyalty points. That's a perfect way to do it. So the loyalty points alone is a great value, and overhead in our industry below $100. And so this is positioned perfectly, particularly for all the value it gives. So those three areas are definitely things that I wanted to focus on initially. And now let's talk about what you need to be doing. So the first thing, guys, you got to understand is that once you've gotten started with us, you've got to bring a fair amount to the table. And the things you bring to the table are what you see here. A desire to build, that's necessary but not sufficient. You can't succeed without a significant desire, but at the same time, lots of people have desire without work ethic, and you've got to have both. You can't sit on the couch and expect your business to grow. You've got to be willing to get out there and do something fairly simple, which is just talk to people on a daily basis. So you've got to bring desire and willingness to work. And as long as you do that, you are set up for success, as long as you have this component in the middle, and that is you're coachable. You're willing to follow the process. As I've said multiple times, the process works, and it works because others have used it. We know it works to create success. There, in this industry, if something doesn't work, it dies. No one teaches it because it's in no one's interest to teach something that doesn't work. If we as leaders teach you as a newer person to do something that doesn't work, it not only hurts you, it hurts us as well. So you've got to be willing to be coachable, and you follow the process. I mentioned last time, Mark Yarnell, one of my mentors in this industry, made 30 million in 20 years. And he used to say, change the system anytime you want, as long as you're making 50,000 a month or more. If not, you can't change anything, because someone who is making that or more probably created the system. You'd agree they know more than you do, so do what they say. So as long as you're coachable and you have the other two components, your position for success, and then you got to understand this. You've got to understand that you will have ups and downs. In fact, this slide has been around, this diagram, for a while, but the place I got it was in a book called The Entrepreneurial Roller Coaster by Darren Hardy. And so you want to understand there'll be ups and downs, good days and not so good days. You'll get excited in the beginning. You'll go out, you'll start talking to people, and you'll get beat up. You'll have someone tell you you'll never succeed. No one in your family has succeeded. You might as well quit now. And then you'll look at them and say, Mom, I just wanted you to hear what I'm doing. And I say that jokingly, but there's an element of truth to it, in that some of the people you're doing this for won't understand why you're doing it. What you want to know is that ultimately someone's going to be right, either you or them. If there are people telling you you shouldn't be doing this, someone's going to be proven right. You want it to be you, and the control of that is in your hands. If you stick it out, you stay, and ultimately achieve your goals, obviously you're right. And they will run around to get in front of your success. I've seen it happen a million times. I left a quote unquote very good government job to focus full time in my last company. People laughed at me for doing that, behind my back, of course. And then when I created success, I would see them and they'd, oh, we knew you could do it. And I'd be thinking to myself, right, I know what you thought and I know what you were saying. There's no better feeling than when you know and they know and you don't have to say anything. So you've got to understand, you've got to be able to endure. And here's one thing that may help you to endure. That is, remember the acronym BEAR. BEAR stands for belief, enthusiasm, action, and result. So working backwards, your results are of course a function of your actions, but your actions will be driven by your level of enthusiasm. If your enthusiasm's high, your action will be high. If your enthusiasm is low, you won't take much action. People don't realize that your enthusiasm typically trends toward your belief. So here's what I mean. Let's say I have a bad day in the business. I can't get customer service. I get rejected by 10 different people. My product I was expecting didn't come. Well, the difference between a leader and someone who struggles in the business is that that leader very quickly will be back in an enthusiastic mode and be talking about the opportunity. Because at the end of the day, that's what we've got to do. We've got to get this in front of people, either to be customers or to be business partners. So here's what you have to believe in. You have to believe in three things. You have to believe in our industry. I believe it's the greatest industry in the world, only industry where increasing your standard of living doesn't require decreasing your quality of life. You have to believe in the company. I think that VyVo has documented 600 million in sales in 5 years, 45 million in commissions, my understanding is paid out over the last year plus. Significant enhancements made that I believe will make 2019 our best year ever. That takes care of the company, but most importantly, you have to believe in yourself, because there's nothing worse than believing that it can work, but not being sure that you can make it work. So you've got to affirm your ability to succeed. You do that through empowering questions and affirmations and just filling your mind with positive thoughts and positive information. There's lots of ways to do that. There's lots of mindset training available, including in our system, Vera. You definitely want to check that out. And ask your mentor, the person you're working with regularly, for any insight they may have in order to help you to build your belief and your self-image and self-esteem as well, because that'll be the key. Again, belief driving enthusiasm, driving action, and then driving results. Now, next, you've got to have a powerful why. We've talked about this quite a bit, and your why, as I said recently, must make you willing to do whatever it takes. One of my mentors taught me you've got to be willing to crawl over broken glass to make your goals a reality. That should give you a very graphic visual about how important the reasons you're doing this have to be. And going along with that, you also have to have good goals. Now, we are not goal setters in the Millionaires Club. I ruined my thunder there, but we're not goal setters, but we absolutely are goal getters. I believe goal setting is one of the potentially most misunderstood and damaging things that people do, not only in our company, but in our culture, because if you don't set goals right, you end up being worse off than if you didn't set goals at all. Here's how it happens. You set a big, ridiculous goal. You don't hit it. You're less inclined to set the next goal. You think less of yourself. Your self-image shrinks. And then ultimately, in a company like ours, you start to believe it's not going to work for you. How much better would it be if you set SMART goals? You can see here the acronyms: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. Now, I said ridiculous goal. There really is, there are no ridiculous goals. They're just ridiculous time frames, or more accurately and politically correct, unrealistic time frame. You can be a president millionaire or even grand president millionaire in VyVo. You just can't be one tomorrow. So you've got to set goals that have realistic time frames. And the thing that I like people to do is set means or stepping stone goals. So you have a big goal, right? My goal is to make 7 figures a month eventually. I can't say that I'm going to do that tomorrow or even this year, but certainly I can set goals along the way. And that's what I've done, first in starting out here, because I was new here. My goal is to make 4 figures, then 5 figures, now 6 figures monthly, as a focus. And as you build toward that, then it makes your quote unquote ridiculous goal seem much more plausible and achievable. And the other thing is it builds your self-confidence. So the cliche says the journey of 1,000 miles begins with 1 step. I would say it begins with lots of 1 steps, right? This isn't people say it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. In my opinion, it's a series of sprints. You sprint, you achieve and rest. You sprint, you achieve and rest. And so we do that. One application of that is in the goals that we set. So you've got to have realistic goals. One simple example, some of you may get inspired by what I'm saying here. If you haven't talked to anyone for the last month, don't say you're going to talk to 10 people tomorrow. Just start with 1. And if you do one tomorrow and it's early enough, do another one, but don't set yourself up for failure by saying you're going to talk to 10 people. I think you get the point. I don't want to belabor it, but so many people misunderstand this or just simply don't set empowering goals. So that's very important. And then let's look at the process. There's a learning curve in our business. We've talked about this before as well. Just understand that the learning curve is broken down here in the stages that you'll go through from unconsciously incompetent, meaning you don't know that you don't know. That's a short stage. You've got mentoring. We will quickly correct you if you're doing something wrong, but then you move to the stage that most people quit, and that's conscious incompetence. That means that you're not good and you know it. And I think very recently I told you what happened to me when I started in this industry with a big why, and I went to a training and I was very uncomfortable, and I'm not a person who then anyway liked to get up in front of the room. I would do it, but it wasn't fun for me because I'm an introvert. And the presenter or the trainer said, who wants to practice the presentation? He had done one, and then he invited us up to practice it. I didn't want to practice it, but I knew that in my city, there was no one to do presentations. I was going to have to do them. So I volunteered, I got up there, I finished, and he said, that was the best Stevie Wonder impersonation I've ever seen. And then after everyone laughed, he said, but seriously, you tried, and that's why you'll be successful. And I would say that to you. You're going to feel uncomfortable. You may even feel embarrassed at times. That's the time when you need to be a strong man or woman and do more of what's making you uncomfortable rather than less, because that shrinks the time period where you feel uncomfortable. The simplest way to turn that rut you're stuck in into a grave is not to do anything, to avoid it. You'll be permanently stuck there. Whereas the person who works diligently will be beyond it very quickly. I went back to my city when I had that training. Within 2 weeks, I was competent in the presentation because I was doing so many. And I realized in that case, the people that I was talking to didn't know the information as well as I did. So even though I thought I didn't know it that well, they knew it less well. Kind of whatever I said, it really didn't matter. So that just gives you a perspective around moving through this process. Conscious competence, you know you can do it, but you have to focus and think about it. And we're moving toward unconscious competence, which simply means we don't think about it at all. There's some parts of this process that I've been doing for so long that, you know, I'm consciously, unconsciously competent. I can pique someone's interest, not even realize necessarily I'm doing it until I come back to the present and I realize, hey, I'm taking them down a path here. And that means that's just thousands of hours of doing it. So you want to compress the time frame, do as much of it as you can. And the other thing to note before I get into what we need to be doing is that when things change, you will likely fluctuate between unconscious competence and conscious competence. For example, with the changes, the move to VyVo, changes in the packages and in our process and the system and the things we feature, I had to rework my entire presentation. And the first several times I did that, and even now I'm kind of more getting back to unconscious competence. But for, you know, the first month, I was consciously competent. I had to really think about it and concentrate. Okay, what's on the next slide? So you'll vary back and forth. The main thing is that you do it, not that necessarily where you are. The more action you take, this process will take care of itself. All right, so let's focus specifically on what you should be doing. Let me check my time. Yikes. Okay. It's amazing when I do trainings like this. My wife always makes fun of me that I say 20 minutes and it's like an hour. So I apologize, but I'll move through this quickly. I just wanted to really stress a couple of key points. So the first goal, obviously, we're trying to get two people who see what we see, overworked or underpaid, and they are want to get started. You're going to put one on your left, one on your right, and that makes you, a team builder. And as a team builder, as long as they have at least 100 SV. As a team builder, now you're qualified to earn team volume commission. And there are two team builder categories. There's team builder partner, which is if you have 100 SV on each side, and SV stands for sales volume for those who don't know. So for example, the extends and the package we just talked about, the smart pack, not the builder pack, but the smart pack, the individual one, they're both 100 SV. So I was just thinking the genetic test is 60 SV. So yes, the extends and the builder pack, or the personal pack or the smart pack are 100 SV. So 100 SV would qualify as a team builder partner. Why qualify for 10% when you can qualify for 20? So we want you to focus on 400 SV and become a team builder executive. Now you're going to earn 20% on all the sales volume on the smaller of your two teams. The simplest way to do this, as I said earlier, is the builder pack, because it's 500 SV. So a person comes in, they buy a builder pack, and you then have one qualified side. If you get someone who does something similar on the other side, then you are team builder executive. Now, the other way, certainly someone could come in, get the smart pack, just the individual bundle, and you would then have 100 toward the 400. So I think you get the point, but critical, we want to do this in 24 to 48 hours. Then we want to help those people do the same thing, hit team developer. Most important part of our company in terms of comp plan advancement, not only because it qualifies you for matching bonuses, which is a significant income stream, you also can advance in the career path, but it's what you want to duplicate. If you can hit team developer within 7 days, and by the way, guys, if you're saying, well, too late for that, no, it isn't, because tomorrow's day one. Remember, we talked about that. So if you're not there yet, hit it within 7 days from tomorrow. If you are there, start over and hit it within 7 days from tomorrow. And the other thing about, the point I was making there is if you can hit team developer, you can hit grand president millionaire, because that's all about producing team developers. So this is a critical part of our system. And the last point I want to make about it is you can indeed have a team builder partner that qualifies you for team developer. It doesn't matter what kind of team builder they are, as long as they're a team builder. However, keep in mind, this is a business of duplication, so we want to duplicate team builder executives. The simplest way for you to do that is to become one yourself. Be a team builder executive, and your people will focus on being team builder executives as well. All right, so let's talk about compensation as we finish up, because I think that sometimes people don't understand the potential. So there are 5 ways to earn. You've probably seen this in my presentation. The first thing to understand is that retail income stream. That means every time you sponsor someone or refer a customer who buys, you will earn 10% of whatever they spend. So we just talked about 2 packages. That 10% would be $37 in the case of one and $150 in the case of the other. So if you refer 2 people who actually purchase the builder pack, that's $300 in income, not including the 20% that you would make when you earn team volume commission. So that right there, 500 in SV. So that right there is $400 in income. And every time you do this, you'll earn the 10%. Now, in terms of supporting people, as you begin supporting your team, you're going to also get paid. One of the bonuses that gets forgotten is the brick bonus. So when you actually become a team developer, you're going to earn up to $200 because you've helped your people become team builders. You earn between $20 and $100 for each person that you help complete a brick, which is one on the left, one on the right, with at least 100 SV, or a team builder. So that is one of the income streams you earn for support. The second is the check match, which is very significant. It's the second largest income stream in our company, in my opinion. And that is 10%. Now, one of the things to understand about that is that when you refer someone, if they end up being someone who takes the business very seriously, you can make a significant income just because you're their upline. 10%. All you have to do is be a team developer. You'll earn 10% of their team volume commission. Can be potentially significant. Third, business building. This is all these categories I put in terms that someone who's not yet in the business can understand. But the business building is team volume commission, 20% on the smaller leg. The one thing to understand about that is that it doesn't matter where it is in the business as long as it's in the smaller leg. And this is something that people sometimes don't understand, particularly if they come out of unilevel or comp plans that aren't like this one. What I mean by that is that in other comp plans in the industry, where a potential or where a customer or business partner is matters hugely. So if they're not in a specific part of your organization that may be rather small, you're not going to earn maximum income. Here, they just have to be in your pay leg, the smaller of your two teams. Now, you can earn check match no matter where they are, but to earn team volume commission, they have to be in your pay leg, but they can be under 20 different leaders, 50 leaders, all at higher positions than you. And if they're in your pay leg, you'll still get paid. That's unbelievable. It's one of the huge benefits of a binary compensation plan. What it means is that the effort does not depend largely on you. So think about this. You could have a leader who brings in a rep, who brings in a customer, and 20 levels of leaders above them who get paid on that customer. It's unbelievable that this exists. So it's very important that you understand those three income streams. I think everyone gets number 4 and 5, but I want to focus as I wrap up on the potential. And I know you've seen me do this in the presentation, but it's extremely important when people are looking to get started in our business and they're thinking about, well, where's the money? What I want them to understand, yeah, there can be some money in the upfronts. And you see here in the column that says personal pack at the top and builder pack, that's all about if these people came in and bought a personal pack, what you'd make, or a builder pack, what you make. And this is after a year, right? So this says $81,000 earned after a year, or $409,500 earned after a year if you're duplicating the builder pack. That's great. That shows you that there's some significant upfront income, but I want you guys focused on the fact that this is a residual opportunity. And the company has made a strong statement about how much it's a residual opportunity, because they pay more residually than I've seen in the industry in 28 years. I'm talking, of course, about the pro subscription, where we just talked about how you get that team volume commission on a customer or representative, no matter where it is in your pay leg. They pay $10 per customer per month on the pro subscription. So that customer that's under 20 or 50 generations of leaders, if that customer has a pro subscription, you'll earn $10. That's unbelievable. So what we've shown here is that you can get started, and just by helping two, who help two, who help two, at a slow pace, because we're duplicating now 2 each month. 2 in the first month becomes 4 in the second month. Now that should really be in the second week, but it's a slow process in this example. 4 becomes 8 in the third month. 8 becomes 16 in the fourth month. If you go out just 6 months, you've got a team of 64 people. Now again, we've only done this by getting 2, so it definitely is obtainable with our help. And understand, it's not going to work this way in the real world. Everyone you get isn't going to get 2 who get 2. Many will do nothing, but some will be balanced by people who do quite a bit. But let's say after 6 months, you've built a team of 64 people. Well, that means you'll have 32 in your pay leg, 32 in your power leg. You're going to get paid on the 32 in your pay leg. Usually the power leg's bigger, so again, it's not going to work that way perfectly. But you're getting paid on those 32 people. If they have Smart Life Pro subscriptions, that's $320 a month. Do you know the average bankruptcy can be avoided by $300 to $500 in additional income a month? So think about showing someone that they could get started in a business potentially without investing anything other than getting the Smart Life Pro subscription, and duplicate that, and in 6 months they could be making $320 a month. Now, would I recommend that? No. As I said earlier, we want to get all of the customization on the Smart Life Pro. That's why I recommend at least the personal pack. But the point is, the opportunity exists. And then as we continue that level of duplication over time, it's a pretty simple proposition to show someone how in a matter of months, not years, they could be making 4 figures monthly on a residual basis. It comes in simply because people are using and loving our products. I've not seen this kind of residual potential with products that are unprecedented, very unique, not available anyplace else. No one is doing what we're doing. We're not a Me Too company. So what I would say to you is, now's the time to go to work. This shows you the potential that we have here. Again, the upfronts are great, but you sell an upfront, you got to sell another upfront to make that same money. You sell a pro subscription, that $10 a month is going to come in every month. If you say, well, $10 isn't that much, great, sell 10 of them. That's 100. Sell 100 of them, not you personally, but through duplication in your team. That's all this is doing. That's $1,000, and you get the point. So how do I achieve my goal right now? 100,000 a month on my way to $1 million a month. It's very simple. I need 10,000 people in my pay leg who are pro subscribers. That's my focus. That's what I'm working on, and I believe I can do that in a reasonable period of time. Now, obviously, there'll be lots of people buying personal packs and builder packs. I'm not even counting that. That's found money for me. I'm really focused on the kind of results we can create through the subscription. So hopefully this has been helpful. I took way longer than I intended, but I really wanted people to get a clear understanding of the income potential, particularly residual, that's available each week. But the fact is that you know, we want to make sure everyone has the information, everyone understands the timing that we have right now, and certainly that everyone is moving to action. So let's be focused. Let's not sit on the sidelines anymore. Let's go to work. And ultimately, by doing that, we all will be in Thailand for the new trip. So thanks a lot, guys. That's going to wrap up tonight's training. Everyone have a great night, and God bless.